The Next Breast Thing podcast is primarily funded by the American Society of Breast Surgeons. The support of sponsorships helps us offset some production costs. ASBrS does not endorse or co-promote any company, product, or service mentioned.
This episode of The Next Breast Thing is made possible in part through the generous support of Solventum Prevena Therapy and Mammotome Breast Cancer Diagnostics and Surgical Solutions.
Solventum Prevena Therapy has demonstrated a significant reduction in surgical site complications, infections, and readmissions. Take a proactive risk management approach. With Prevena Therapy, learn more at Prevena.com. That's Prevena.com.
At Mammotome, we offer a comprehensive range of products that deliver better outcomes in breast care. From biopsy to surgery, our advanced technologies empower clinicians with precise, trusted solutions. Together, we will transform the future of breast care. Learn more at mammotome.com.
Hey listeners, want us to let you know when new episodes are available? Simply hit the subscribe or follow button on the Next Breast Thing podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Also, join the conversation on our Facebook group by searching the Next Breast Thing podcast group on Facebook.
On this episode of The Next Breast Thing,
Been living here now for 3 months and really enjoying the renovation.
I actually bought a house in Joshua Tree, California.
10 ways ASBrS can make you a better breast surgeon.
As a general surgeon, I get pulled in a lot of directions, and I have to really choose where am I going to get my education. Be prepared to learn a lot.
We really try to think about that as we put that meeting together is, can we make this actionable? I mean, it's great to hear about.
Number 2 is fellowship.
I just can't say enough how helpful it was to have
Our statements and our pathways and our guidelines.
If you want to stay stagnant, don't go to meetings, don't go to ASBrS. But if you
And that makes me a better surgeon.
If you're not plugged in, get plugged in because there is a spot to put.
Some of the resources that we offer surgeons for practice management, such as working.
It's the dirty secret that no one wants to talk about, but that's really what it is.
this community of people who are wanting to help you, and if a job took the time to put themselves on ASBrS, it's probably a job that I want to be at versus.
This is Carla.
Ellie.
Michael.
Susie.
And Susan, welcome to The Next Breast Thing, a podcast by the American Society of Breast Surgeons for the entire breast community,
We're a group of devoted surgeons from different parts of the country.
inviting you to journey with us into the science of breast.
Through the heart and soul of our breast community.
From advances in procedures and patient care to personal transformation, we're here to support you.
So, if you're part of the breast community and can't seem to find the answers, this is the Next Breast Thing.
Our topic today is 10 ways ASBrS can make you a better breast surgeon. But before we get started, let's begin with some personal and professional updates. Carla, let's start with you.
I was listening to some of our older episodes, and I spent a lot of time talking about the condo, and it's been a minute since I've talked about the condo, and I've been living here now for 3 months and really enjoying the renovation. Did some traveling, like I'm sure some of you did, or just spent some time with family over the holidays, and so I'm just rejuvenated from that. Susie, it's good to see you. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's been more windy here, but not a lot of snow, so I haven't hit the mountains for snowboarding quite yet, but I have still kept up on running. 3 years will be June, and I often wonder, why am I still doing this every day? But I enjoy it. So not a lot has changed for me other than not hitting the slopes quite yet. Michael, what about you?
Just listen to the last podcast that we dropped with Dr. Manahan and genetics. I'm in hour 7 of the start of that, where Susan said, tell us a little bit about yourself. It's been great. And so if you haven't listened to that podcast, I encourage you to listen, and you could fast forward through the first 10 or so hours.
So the funny thing is, I had sent our producer extraordinaire, Stuart, a text and said, "Oh boy, you have a lot of editing to do on that one."
We want the short version, Eric. We didn't get the short version. Ellie, have you listened to that podcast? Tell me what's going on with you if you hadn't listened to that yet.
No, I have not. I'm a little behind on my podcast. But no, actually, a lot has gone on since the last time we were all together and did updates. I actually bought a house in Joshua Tree, California. The last couple of months, I've been working on getting it going. And it's just been a really creative project, too, to design the property and update it to my style. And it's a huge hiking area. There's a national park there. So I've gotten to do a ton of hiking, which I really enjoy. And yeah, it's just been a cool project.
So let's move on to our topic. 10 ways ASBrS can make you a better breast surgeon. ASBrS is not just a membership. It's actually an open door to a community, a toolkit, and a catalyst for professional growth. But it's up to you to step inside that door that the society has opened. From clinical education and practice resources to policy, advocacy, and networking, the society offers powerful ways to help us sharpen our skills, stay current, and elevate our impact as breast surgeons. Our goal is to come up with 10 ways, but let's tag each one and see if we can come up with more. I would normally say, who would like to get the conversation started? But, Susie, I'm going to start with you because I know that you have not been to many meetings. And I remember hearing how exciting the meeting was. How does ASBrS make you a better breast surgeon?
I'm going to say number one is the annual meeting. As a general surgeon, I get pulled in a lot of directions and I have to really choose where am I going to get my education? What societies am I going to give money to? And what do I get in return? I have gone to several meetings and I've walked away from a few being like, wah, wah, I got nothing. But I walked away from the ASBrS meeting with information that can be put into practice. And I was so excited about that. And at the annual meeting, it is dense. So be prepared to learn a lot and be prepared to walk away with current guidelines.
That's important. We even talk about that when we're planning the meeting out is what can you use on Monday? You spend the weekend at the meeting and what can you go home and put into action? We really try to think about that as we put that meeting together is can we make this actionable? I mean, it's great to hear a bunch of studies and look at research and that's all extremely important. But now what are you going to do with that information when you see your patients on Monday? That's a great take home.
And I think that is something that differentiates our society. It's just reality-based. Yes, there are presentations on clinical trials that are going on and that clinical trials we would like to see in the future. But what am I applying to my patient that I see on Monday morning? And as Michael said, having been involved on a higher level with the society for years, that really is a very big thought that's at the top of the list when designing these meetings is what's your takeaway? What are you going to do Monday when you see however many patients you're seeing in a day? How will you apply what you learned here to those patients that you see the following week? And I agree. I don't think that happens at every meeting.
I think also we come from different areas of the country and our patients are different. We come with different angles and different training. And at the meeting, you have that too, but you're able to still be broad and specific with those takeaway points. And it's just really well balanced.
It's pretty challenging too, because you'll go and see what other people are doing and you go, you know what? They're doing that. They're putting that into practice. This isn't that esoteric. If they can do it on Monday, then I can start doing it on Monday. So it kind of raises the bar for you individually saying, you know, I probably could do oncoplastics. Let's start with that. Let's move into that. And all right, I'll start slowly and get bigger. But it does sort of put a challenge out there to you for things that you can explore and do.
So Carla, do you think the goal of a meeting or the goal of a society is to elevate individual surgeons or collectively as a whole? Everybody practices different regions, different settings, different patient populations.
I think you could probably answer it with both. I think going back to what we've been talking about, the goal of the meeting partially is for the individuals, for each surgeon to be able to go back on Monday and be able to incorporate some of the information that you've learned into your practice. But I think in a leadership position and for the society, I think you want to elevate breast surgeons as a whole. And I think that the society has that vision and has taken breast surgeons, general surgeons who practice breast surgery, people who practice in the breast surgery field, APPs, nurses, nurse navigators, all of those people, and are really advancing that field. Number 2 is fellowship support. Maybe it's not making me a better surgeon right now today, but as a fellowship director, ASBrS plays a role in our fellowship training. It provides a lot of education, didactics for my fellows. It has a role at the meeting. There are courses outside the meeting.
It's interesting because when you said the word fellowship, there's so many ways that you can take that. Fellowship for us in the medical world is training, but it's also community, and societies are considered fellowships. I've never thought of the word in that way until you just said fellowship. And I thought, does she mean community? What do you mean by that? But now I understand after you said it. But you can take that in so many ways. And I think it is an enormous thing. And based on the fact that as members, we retain, Michael, you may know, what is it, greater than 98% of breast surgical oncology fellows in the country. That goes to show we're doing a great job and a great service to them. And they like it so much they stay on as members afterwards. So I do think that's a really important point. Ellie, what are your thoughts?
I was probably in one of the first couple groups of the fellowship education. I think that all started in 2020, 2021. When I was going through fellowship, you're hearing all these different guidelines from different attendings. And maybe if you're at a county site, they practice one way. Maybe if you're at an academic site, they practice another way. And the ASBrS was always kind of my home base. And the monthly fellowship classes, it was like, okay, we're all getting the same review of the most practice-changing clinical trials. We're all learning about when do you do a mastectomy and not a lumpectomy. We're all learning about the confusion between sentinel lymph nodes and when you need to do that after neoadjuvant. I just can't say enough how helpful it was to have some standardized education during that time. Who knows, at a different site, maybe people are learning different things, but I just remember appreciating so much an outline of what I should be learning so that I felt comfortable. And then honestly, the next year in my first year of practice, I would go back to those videos and review. And it was just such a helpful tool, especially as a new surgeon, to reference that you could do on your own time. You wouldn't have to bother anyone or interrupt their day. It was a really helpful guide in those really formative years. So I can't say enough. If you are wanting to learn about breast surgery, if you're a fellow and you're at a place where you're not hooked up with a course, you maybe should rethink your fellowship. That course is incredible. And that's when I was first exposed to Susan, Eric Manahan, who was on our previous episode. And you could just tell that they really cared about teaching. And that's the other thing, is this is not a punitive society. I think it's encouraging, and kind of what Carla was trying to iterate before, like it's a place for your growth. If you want to stay stagnant, don't go to meetings, don't go to ASBrS. But if you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to be the best in your field, you better be going to ASBrS and getting the latest and greatest, because that's how you stay on top of the game.
You mentioning the didactics, I was smiling the entire time, and it brought back memories. COVID was a very rough time. The country shut down mid-March. By March 20th, ASBrS was up online educating fellows. And for the next 2 to 3 years, every other Thursday night, Eric Manahan and I were on. And we gave up a lot of our life for this, getting everyone recording it. When you do society work, it's volunteer work. So we had people giving talks live at 8, 9 o'clock at night, Eastern time, for free. And they did it because of the commitment to the fellows and to the society. It really is incredible education. So I'm thrilled that you really loved it. That's awesome.
Okay, I get to go next. You're asking Carla, is the meaning of the society for breast care overall, or is it for the individual surgeon? And I'm going to go back to that a little bit and talk about our statements and our pathways and our guidelines, because that is a really important tool. You can be in fellowship, you could be out 20 years, and referencing back to that. And I keep thinking that only ASBrS that our patients see is the individual doctor they're sitting in front of. So while we put out statements and guidelines and whatever sort of raises the bar and makes a statement for the society, the only way those get enacted is by the individual member or the individual surgeon taking that to their patient. So it's almost a twofold thing. Yes, we're going to set a national standard, but it's incumbent on each one of our members to take that information and apply it. I think it is twofold, and we are the society. The individual members are the only ASBrS our patients are ever going to see.
And I just want to follow up on that. I have the privilege of serving as the board liaison to the statements and pathways and some of the other research committees that we have through ASBrS, and the amount of work that the members of these committees do to put out robust position statements and consensus statements to make sure that our members have the most up-to-date data or consensus statements on things that maybe we have less randomized data on is tremendous. I'm so impressed by the amount of work and time that they put into that. And I think it is such a resource for our members when you're sitting there going, what should I be doing with this patient? Just like you said, Ellie, probably not the T1C and 0 triple negative, but maybe the complicated axillary management patient that you want to know an easy resource. The website is a great resource for that.
I have to echo that. And it goes not only from the treatment, but even the position statement on benign breast disease. And I just applaud all the people who worked on that. It is so well done. And that's part of some of our practices, as well as dealing with cancer.
We also have several coming out in JAMA surgery. One has come out already. Another one should be within the next 6 weeks, I believe, should be published. But one of my favorite things about the society, and it makes me a better surgeon, a better physician, a better person, is the ability to give back and the ability to make a difference. My family might say I give back a little too much to the society, but it allows you to think in a different way. It allows you to act in a different way. And being involved in advocacy and understanding that when we're doing our day-to-day jobs, we don't know about these things. We may send a letter off to our senator or our congressman, but we're not really getting down and dirty in these discussions with our representatives. It gives me an avenue to give back, and that makes me a better surgeon. I think we're doing pretty good. Susie, we're back at you.
I really like the question of the week. It is just so quick and well explained, and it does not take a lot of time. So I appreciate those. I don't do them every week, but maybe I should put that on my New Year's bingo card of doing the question of the week every week.
It was question of the week, but we would get it like every 2 weeks. Now we actually get it every week. And I echo what you said. I absolutely love it. And by nature, surgeons are competitive. So I'm like, okay, how many got that? Oh, only 66% got that right. I was one of them.
And back to the kudos to the volunteers. I mean, that just didn't come up. They sit down, they do the research, they reference it, they put questions together. They're going to be CME compliant. It's a lot of fun. I totally agree with you. And there's a lot of work with volunteer work that are really spending a lot of time putting that together for the membership. It's not a marketing group within our society. This is a group of volunteers that are putting together questions and researching them and getting them put out. So I appreciate those folks a ton.
Without a doubt, and they deserve all the shout outs. But think about it. They're giving back, but learning while they give back. So just giving back makes them a better breast surgeon. There's give and take with all of this. And when you look at how many volunteers, besides our staff, how many people really run the engine here compared to the number of members, it's not all that much.
So there's opportunities. If you're not plugged in, get plugged in, because there is a spot to put you and there's work to be done for sure.
It's interesting. I'm hearing how there's this group of givers, and Susan, clearly a giver. I'm on the taker side, like, bring it all to me. And then I'm sure there's some people who are givers and takers, but I like the openness of being able to have that opportunity to get involved.
See, I was just going to say, you said that you're taking, you dedicate how many hours a month to a podcast? And again, it doesn't just happen. We're researching, we put a lot of work into this. So I think that I would debate that you are a taker from the society. I think you give an awful lot. But I also do think that we need both. Because if you're taking from the society, I fully believe you're giving someplace else. Whether it's giving to your patients, what you've learned, you're giving back someplace else. And that's a good thing. We do need variety. Carla?
There's a lot of toolkits and resources that we give our members. When we think about some of our different listeners, and we've talked about Ellie coming out of fellowship not too many years ago, we all come out of fellowship with a lot of resources, understanding how to manage patients with breast disease, but practice management is difficult. Some of the resources that we offer surgeons for practice management, such as working with APPs. We could even sort of just talk about training APPs as sort of a separate number, but I also think about coding. I mean, we know that coding at our annual meeting is a popular session. Nobody doesn't like the coding session or doesn't want to learn from that. So I think it's great to have those resources because, of course, we're all doing very similar cases and we want to know about those aesthetic flat closures and the difficulties of nipple-sparing mastectomies and some of the ultrasound-guided procedures that people may be doing in the office. And it's great because I don't need to go and dive deep on that stuff myself. I can go to the meeting and I know I'm going to find that information. So those things I think are incredibly helpful. I know I did that my second or third year in practice because I wanted to kind of get my feet wet first. And then I pretend like I know everything I need to know now, but I kind of peek in the room and I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should check this out every year now.
I would say I go to the billing and coding as the opening session every year because I still learn something every year. We're all employed, let's face it, but everyone looks at collections, RVUs, some data of productivity in some form. And that's how we bill and code. It just is. It's the dirty secret that no one wants to talk about, but that's really what it is. With the changes in reimbursement, I know, Ellie, you said that you would love to discuss this on the podcast. And I think it's great because the average patient, and we're all patients, doesn't understand what goes into it. And I love when one of my friends was complaining the other day because they went to a doctor with something weird and they said, the visit was 5 minutes and look what I got billed. It only took them 5 minutes. And I was like, it didn't take them 5 minutes. It took them 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 8 years of training, and 20 years of practice to spend only 5 minutes to diagnose what was going on. It didn't take them 5 minutes. It took them 30 plus years. And that's what people forget because we make it look easy most of the time. Ellie?
The other thing I did really want to harp on about ASBrS, especially as a younger surgeon, that's a huge resource library of videos. I go through the videos all the time to see a technique for maybe a different way to do nipple sparing or some kind of How I Do It video. I love the video library. I also love the forums where they sometimes talk about like a chronic seroma management, stuff that is not easily figured out. The forum is just invaluable, especially for those weird cases that you end up getting stuck with as the breast surgeon in the hospital. And I just can't say enough how valuable it is to have this community of people who are wanting to help you and have been there and done this before. So as a new surgeon, really just having access to that website and looking at the videos, being part of the forum, joining the committees, just getting involved, you're just going to expand your network and make things so much easier, let alone the job board. I loved the ASBrS job board. That was so helpful when I was a fellow. I looked at it literally every day. And I also knew if a job took the time to put themselves on ASBrS, it's probably a job that I want to be at versus you guys probably haven't had to do this recently, but if you just Google like breast surgeon job in whatever city, you get all these fake jobs that take you to like some spam site. So you don't know if it's really a job or not. And just like the ASBrS job board was always something that I could kind of have a level of trust with, that this probably is a place that I want to be if they took the time to list on ASBrS. So I think the job board's incredible.
The job board, I think it was last year, was updated and much more user-friendly than it was when you were probably looking at it, which is much nicer, and also an APP job board. So as we certify more and more APPs, and it makes an enormous difference to work with someone who's been through the certification course compared to someone who has not. But they're looking for breast-specific jobs, so the job board is a great resource.
Carla talked about fellowship, and you were alluding to this, and it's really what made me think about fellowship. We think about fellowship as training fellows or fellowship directors, and I'm just going to go back to just the plain old meaning of fellowship, which is getting to know your colleagues and getting to communicate with your colleagues and meeting people from across the country and picking their brain. And if someone calls you and says, do you know anybody in North Carolina? Well, I probably do. Or if I don't, I can go to our website and recommend people that way. So the meeting is a great time of fellowship. It is a great time of getting to know your colleagues. This is a very small club, and that has really paid dividends. I can pick up the phone for a fellow that's looking for a job and say, where do you want to go? Think about here. Think about here. We can serve as references. Like I said, get difficult questions answered by picking up the phone and calling people. And it all starts with fellowship with each other, whether it's at the annual meeting or serving on committees or doing whatever else of the society.
Believe it or not, once again, we're just about out of time. But you know, one of my favorite things is to go around and give everyone a last moment to share their takeaway. So Ellie, let's start with you.
The high tide raises all ships. We raise up the individual, we raise up the group. It's a win-win. It's all about just lifting each other up.
I love that. Susie?
Go on the website. There's a lot of tabs. Find what works for you and where your gaps are. And there's going to be something that will fill it for you.
I love that. Carla?
In addition to the meeting being great for its content, there's always great food.
There is.
And it's worth going because I think it's a really well-run meeting as well.
Strategically placed food in the exhibit hall.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to put that as sort of one of those. So.
I'm going to put it down as number 17, food. Does that make you a better breast surgeon?
It nourishes me.
It does. When I'm nourished and well-fed, I am better. Michael, once again, as president of this fabulous society, what is your takeaway?
Some of the criticisms that we actually hear is the society is doing too much. And I would say buckle up because we're going to do more. It takes more volunteers. It takes harder work. But for us to really provide what the society needs to provide for all of our members, we're going to do more and more and more. So get ready.
I hope that for our listeners, as they're driving, they're commuting, they're walking, they're sitting with the podcast, listening to the podcast. I hope that this causes you all to think how the society makes you a better breast surgeon. And what can the society do to even increase that experience and do more for you or more for the collective good? So please feel free. I'll send you Michael Berry's cell number. I may announce it here. And just feel free to text him. He's really not very busy. He's not putting a lot of time into the presidency. Ha ha. But seriously, we're on every social media site. Please go and give us your comments and tell us how to make this podcast better for you or to make the society better for you. So, to all of our listeners throughout the breast community, we're so excited that you've joined us on this journey, and we'll see you next time on the Next Breast Thing podcast.
We look forward to connecting with you on the next episode of The Next Breast Thing, a podcast by the American Society of Breast Surgeons for the breast community.
Also, join the conversation on our Facebook group by searching the Next Breast Thing podcast group on Facebook.
Finally, the content within the Next Breast Thing podcast represents the views, thoughts, and opinions of the co-host and may not necessarily reflect the views, thoughts, and opinions of the American Society of Breast Surgeons.
Until next time, this is Carla,
Ellie.
Michael,
Susie.
And Susan. And always remember, if you're part of the breast community and can't seem to find the answers, this is the Next Breast Thing.